Throughout history, America has been at the center of many major world conflicts. From world wars to civil wars, the United States has faced numerous challenges. Yet, there is one thing in common among all these conflicts. No enemy has ever come close to conquering the US mainland. But what factors have created such an impenetrable defense that no other country dares to invade? Well, this is the story of why it's impossible to defeat the United States with Geomore. When you look at this chart, the United States spent $916 billion on its military in 2023. This constitutes over 40% of the total military spending worldwide for the given year. By comparison, China, which ranks second, only spent about $296 billion, which means the US spent more than 3 times. But that's not all. You see, the US outspent not only China, but Russia, India, Saudi Arabia, the UK, Germany, Ukraine, France, Japan, and South Korea combined. But it doesn't stop there. The most recent National Defense Authorization Act supported $841.4 billion in funding for the Department of Defense in 2024. And it also outlined details of its $849.8 billion budget, which is expected to fund operations during the fiscal year of 2025. Honestly, America doesn't need to spend that much on its defense to protect its territories from invasion. With its remarkable geography, the United States holds an incredible strategic advantage. A single look at the map is enough to understand why America's territory has expanded across the entire continent, stretching from the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean. These vast coastlines serve as a formidable barrier, effectively isolating the United States from any potential foes and guaranteeing robust protection for the American mainland. Going inland, the Mississippi River, along with its counterpart the Missouri River, plays a major role in transporting goods across America. Interestingly, in times of invasion, the Mississippi River could prove to be instrumental in swiftly moving troops and weapons. Not only that, but the United States also boasts an incredible 45,000-mile highway system, specifically designed to facilitate troop movements. And if that wasn't enough, there's an impressive 140,000 miles of freight railway infrastructure across the country. Another remarkable aspect of the United States geography is how it presents a challenging landscape, making it very difficult to conquer. There are diverse terrains found within the country, including deserts, swamps, and mountains. The Appalachian Mountains in the east and the Rocky Mountains in the west act as significant barriers to inland invasion, while the Great Lakes in the northeast form yet another formidable obstacle. Consequently, the flatter regions along the southern border appear to be the most feasible entry points. However, the United States compensates for these vulnerabilities by stationing a substantial number of troops in California and Texas. Moreover, the coastal areas are not any easier to invade, as they are heavily fortified with military bases housing hundreds of thousands of troops. This strategic positioning ensures the defense of the nation's coasts. However, America's strength isn't just in its isolation or military spending. The US has a robust domestic industrial base, with extensive shipyards, aviation, and automotive factories that could switch to wartime production if needed. The ability to produce tanks, planes, and warships domestically means that the United States can protect its supply chains simply by defending its territory. They automatically avoid the logistical nightmares of overseas supply lines. Currently, the United States views China as its most formidable rival, and the problem is that modern warfare has expanded beyond land and air to include space. If China were to disable American satellites, then that could be very concerning, as it could severely impact the US military's ability to monitor troop movements in real time. The idea may sound absurd, but in 2007, China successfully destroyed one of its very own satellites with a ballistic missile, while it was floating 850 kilometers above the Earth. This destroyed satellite was at a similar altitude to US intelligence satellites, meaning that China could theoretically target them as well. Russia has also conducted a similar test that even put the crew of the ISS at risk. Taking out satellites is a drastic measure due to the creation of hazardous space debris that could affect all current and future satellites. Both Russia and China are already actively interfering with US satellites using lasers and jammers instead of direct destruction. What's even more concerning is China's recent investments in AI and quantum computing, which could revolutionize the future of warfare. Just imagine the challenge the Pentagon would face in strategizing against an enemy that is utilizing artificial intelligence to make split-second decisions. On the other hand, looking at Russia, their military has proven to be more disorganized and incompetent than previously thought, especially after they invaded Ukraine in early 2022. Nevertheless, with nearly 1 million troops, thousands of vehicles, and specialized hacker units, they remain a formidable force. But even with all this, it's still impossible to invade the US. The NATO treaty obliges European and Canadian allies to come to America's aid in case of an attack. On top of the current military personnel, the US also has the Selective Service System, where all males aged 18 to 25 must register for a draft lottery during a national emergency. In World War II, the US drafted over 3 million men per year, showcasing the potential to expand its military personnel. Furthermore, with the Pentagon's unparalleled resources and the US's unmatched defense budget, no other country can overcome American forces. Additionally, civilians in the US have more guns than the military, potentially aiding in the defense against invaders. Despite the possibility of armed citizens joining the fight, urban warfare poses challenges favoring the defending country. The defense of cities plays a crucial role, with most of the US population residing in urban areas. The determination to fight is also a significant factor that plays an important role in military success, as very recently portrayed by Ukraine. And America is well known for its unmatchable patriotism among its citizens. Another thing that we haven't mentioned is the importance of self-reliance when it comes to food, energy, and weapons. And America is among the most self-reliant countries ever. The vast agricultural lands of the United States highlight its strength in food production and self-sufficiency. With only 2% of the land urbanized, the US not only feeds itself, but also exports food worldwide. It also has more arable land than any other country, surpassing even India and China, which have more than 1 billion people. With only 340 million people to feed, the US enjoys a surplus of agricultural resources. Beyond agriculture, the US is also rich in energy resources. Texas, for example, is home to significant oil and gas reserves, with about 44 billion barrels of oil and almost 500 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. Even the Appalachian Mountains, unsuitable for farming, are valuable for their vast coal deposits. America holds the world's largest coal reserves and a wealth of other natural resources, securing its position as a global energy leader. Another potential threat to America could be North Korea, which claims that its nuclear weapons can reach the US mainland. As the North Korean leader, Kim Jong-un, praised his troops involved in its recent intercontinental ballistic missile test, he said his country has a policy of not hesitating to launch a nuclear strike on a rival if provoked. Since adopting an escalatory nuclear doctrine last year, Kim has repeatedly threatened to use nuclear weapons preemptively. But many foreign experts say North Korea has yet to obtain functioning nuclear missiles, and is also unlikely to use its nukes first because the US and its allied forces helplessly outgun it. The situation with the US and Iran is quite similar, with both countries having nuclear capabilities to protect their regimes rather than using them offensively against each other. Cuba and Venezuela are also considered enemies of the US, but their military strength is not enough to launch an invasion. In case of an invasion, it's important to remember that the US itself is a nuclear power with a triad of air, land, and sea missiles, making it nearly impossible to completely neutralize. The principle of mutually assured destruction ensures that any use of nuclear weapons will result in catastrophic consequences for all parties involved, ultimately leading to the destruction of humanity. In 2010, the United States and Russia signed the New START Treaty, agreeing to reduce their deployed nuclear warheads by about half. As of 2024, the Federation of American Scientists estimates that Russia possesses 5,580 nuclear weapons, while the United States has 5,428. Russia and the US each have about 1,600 active deployed strategic nuclear warheads. But the modern age war doesn't necessarily need to be fought by shedding blood. With the help of rapidly evolving technology, it has become possible to destabilize an entire nation from a small room with a few talented people from an unknown part of the world. Luckily, the White House Cybersecurity Office said that the US cybersecurity is getting stronger thanks to a comprehensive strategy to improve digital defenses. This strategy includes new steps to protect important sectors like healthcare and education from cyber threats like ransomware and attacks on critical infrastructure. The updated plan focuses on using all available natural resources to deter hackers, updating government technology to get rid of outdated systems, and enhancing security in areas such as digital identity and open-source software. Additionally, it emphasizes building partnerships both domestically and internationally, and managing risks in the supply chain. Despite these efforts, challenges remain from emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, which are making the cybersecurity landscape more complex and offering new opportunities for cyber attackers. There's no doubt that the strategy will continue to evolve and be updated annually to address these ongoing and new challenges. In the hypothetical scenario of a modern invasion, analysts speculate that adversaries would need to overcome significant challenges, including US air and naval power. The US military's global presence, combined with advanced surveillance and intelligence capabilities, makes achieving the element of surprise incredibly difficult for any potential invader. The US's logistical advantages, such as the ability to rapidly deploy forces across its vast territory, and the inherent challenges posed by its varied landscapes, from deserts to mountains, further complicate invasion scenarios. The historical resilience and strategic depth of the United States suggests that any attempted invasion would likely be costly, complex, and ultimately unsuccessful.